Good evening. Demon Phil here with another interview tonight that we're going to get started on here shortly. As usual, if you will, let me know you can see and hear me in the comments. I'd appreciate that. And let's make sure we get this shared out. And we're going to have some fun and get to know Mog Park tonight. So we're going to go ahead and make sure everything's working correctly on here. Scott, appreciate you being here, buddy. And let me see, making sure everything's set up on my end over here. And thank you for letting me know, Scott. I appreciate that too. Because we know I have had my technical difficulties a couple of times on here. All right, looks like everything is up and running pretty well. If we can make sure and get this shared out, I'd appreciate that. And then we will get going in about another minute here. Hope everyone's had a great day today and been productive. Mine has been focused on packing. Shocker. Because, you know, the move is coming up in 2 weeks, so I can get ready for that. So getting everything together and ready for that and trying not to pull my hair out. Oh, too late. Yes, Scott, I will agree with you on that one, yes. All right, well, we're starting to get you all to trickle in now. Excellent. Give it about another 30 seconds here and we'll get started. Just want to make sure some other people that are coming in a little bit later get a chance to come in. Plus, I think we have like probably a 30-second lag between here and actual Facebook. Again, shocker. David, appreciate you being here, buddy. Great show today. I had a blast on that thing. Looking forward to next week's show. At least I think I am so far. I don't know. Your mind is about as demented and twisted as mine is at times, so I'm not sure about that one. All right, let me go ahead and remove the banner. We're going to make this official. All right, Demon Phil here, and I've got another interview tonight, and I will apologize ahead of time for this going on in the background because, like I said, I am in the process of packing and getting ready to move, so the quote-unquote studio that I put together is kind of getting torn down, which is okay because at least I'm able to still be on here and do my shows. But I always start off by going in and thanking my sponsors because I do have sponsors, and it is really cool to have sponsors. So let me go ahead and start off with that real quick. So first off, of course, one of my favorites that I like to push on here because it actually has the opportunity to save lives, which is huge. Sub-Zero Mission, which in their area, they go out and they will give the tools necessary to go ahead and survive the winter months to homeless veterans that are out there. Means a ton to me, means a ton to a lot of people that are dealing with this. If you want more information on this, please reach out to me and I'll get you all the information you need. That is that one. Totally Rad Comics is the next one, which is Totally Rad Life of Violet #3, just finished on Kickstarter, doing very well. Jim Noble, who may or may not be stopping in tonight, you never know with the Clown King. So he's done a great job on that. Next we've got, and he is in the audience right now, I see right now, Luis Torres with Codex Entertainment, Lily the Demoness #4. If you haven't jumped on that Kickstarter, time is running out and you do not want to miss out on that thing. Plus, Luis puts on a hell of a show, gets a great book going, and then takes care of his fans as well. So it's a win-win situation. Jump on there. Naughty Fairies is the next one with Wendy Steen Shaner. Hers just ended, I think, about an hour ago, and I think it was her biggest one that she's had to date, which is excellent. She deserves that one. It was a great campaign that went on there. All of these are amazing campaigns right now, and I am just so honored to be a part of all of this as well. 183 Degree Studio, which is Kara Nicole, Alfred Trujillo, which they had Confessions of a Cosplay Diva, which has ended about a month or so ago on Kickstarter. I believe you can still go on Indiegogo for a very short amount of time. Go ahead and jump on that if you have not, so get on there. Third Empire Banner, which has Age of Remnants, is going right now on Kickstarter. Go check that one out. And then Mojo Rising, if everything goes according to plan and we don't have technical difficulties or anything, we are launching this bad boy in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from Tuesday, we will be launching it, and it'll be a live launch from my show. It'll actually be brand new at my new place, so first show. What could go wrong? And of course, we have Pantsless Pizza. Pantsless Pizza, if you don't know enough about that, huge reveals coming very soon on that one as well. So let me go ahead and go through the comments real quick because I've seen y'all have been busy. Wow. This is going to be a fun night tonight. Excellent. All right, so David's in here, Lewis is in here. Y'all have been talking back and forth. And then I've got guest relations in here as well. Joshua Main from on the YouTube side. So excellent. Thank you for being here. All right, let's go ahead and quit looking at my face because this is not the prettiest thing to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out my guest right now, which is Mog Park.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me as a guest.
Oh, absolutely. That was an absolute have to. I needed to get you on here.
Yeah. Hey Scott, what's
now,
up,
for
man?
those that are out here that are watching, well, those that are watching out right now and those that will be watching later on, for anybody who doesn't know who you are, if you'll go ahead and take a moment and tell us who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
Okay, so my name is Mog Park. I'm a illustrator. So I dabble in like pretty much everything nowadays. Book covers, game design. I've done TV as well as now I'm doing mainly a lot I do is comics as well. So, and where to find me? It's pretty simple. It's Facebook Mog Park, like my name. Instagram Mog Park. The one that, if you want to really dig into like an extensive collection of all my work since very from the beginning, it will be a DeviantArt account. That one is called Tubu Gomdori. It's like DUBUGOMDORI. So Tubu Gomdori DeviantArt. That one, and yeah. What was that other question? So
no, where to find you? That was it right there.
Good.
Just the basic intro to get to get people to know you in case they don't know who you are, which I don't know why they wouldn't, but in case.
Yes.
Because my show's supposed to make you famous.
Oh wow! I'm so honored, man.
It hasn't even made me famous. I can't promise anything.
Yeah, it's so funny, Phil, that you said you're moving because I'm also in the process of moving now, and I have to pack. And I feel you, man. I totally feel you. Yeah.
And it's weird. Well, I say weird. It's actually, I mean, for those of us that are in the comic book industry, the first thing that we pack is all of our comics and get those ordered and everything. And I move those upstairs and I'm looking at it going, how much stuff do I actually have? And I keep looking at it going, wait a minute, that's all comics. That's not stuff. That has to go.
Dude, I know what you mean, man. I have like storages that I have to still clear out filled with comics. Yeah. Oh, hey Joshua, what's up, man?
Joshua is over. He's over on YouTube because he's still on Facebook ban, I think, for the rest of today, and then he comes back tomorrow. Oh. So he's even saying it's very lonely over there in YouTube. Free guest relations.
Yeah.
And David said, "Yay, Mog is here. Welcome."
Shaka, man. So.
The way I do this is, I know you haven't been on this before and you were kind of interested and all. I just kind of ask some questions. The audience gets involved in this. Sometimes they get a little rowdy on some things over there, but I have full control and I have the ejecto button and they know it.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Well, the first thing that I want to know is what kind of comics actually influenced you growing up?
Oh my God. Okay. So I grew up in I kind of had a very turbulent childhood in a way where it was never stable. So I was born in South Korea, and my father was working for the government. So he could never be staying in one place for a long time. So you're talking like at least three years max per country. And because of that, I never really had a stable like educational, cultural like installation. Hey Louis, man, thanks for the love, yo. So yeah, from South Korea, like the moment I was born, I was living in like Saudi Arabia, I mean, talking like different culture right away. Saudi Arabia, and then went back to Seoul a little bit, and then Australia. That's actually where I learned my English when I was living in Australia. You can't tell I don't have an Australian accent because kids made so much fun of me later on when I was talking with Australian accent. I tried so hard to get rid of it. And now I think back, like I should have just not tried so hard. Because it's kind of cool to have an Aussie accent, you know? So Australia, and then go back to Korea again a little bit, and then I went to Russia, lived there in Moscow. And each country that I went to also, like back then, that's when it seemed to have, there's like a lot of major events that happened. Like when I was in Russia, they had the coup d'etat. So people were shooting like crazy. And I was like living right next to the White House. So I was getting shot, like my house, you know, stuff like that. Very interesting, dark past. And then right after that, we skipped to Japan. And in Japan, I had the biggest major earthquake, which was like a 8.2, 8.5, the Kobe earthquake. I was again right there, survived that. And then we again went to Korea. And then from Korea, I came to San Francisco. So because of this weird, so much past, I never really got a chance to actually read a comic until one day when I was in college in Korea. I somehow got into college, which was so like fortunate. And when I went to college, I was majoring in animation at that time, because at that time animation was so huge. It was like the first animation college in Korea ever created. So I applied, and luckily I got inside. And one of my colleague, his last name was Park. I don't know the rest of his name, but I remember his last name because he shared the same last name as me. He was like a weirdo, like a very intense weirdo. And he one day brought this comic book, European comic book by Paolo Serpieri. I don't know if you guys know this, but Paolo Serpieri is one of the best, I feel like, one of the guys who really know anatomy very well. And he brought this comic book and he's like, hey guys, check this out. And when I saw that, I was like, ew, what's this? Because it was basically like pornographic, you know, like it was just like all about that. But he was like, no, don't look at the content, look at the art. And that's when I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Because in Asia, like, because in South Korea, the animation I was in, we were mainly influenced by manga and anime. So I never knew that like a 2D, like a graphic novel can be elevated to that kind of like, which is Western style comic art. So that was my first like huge eye-opening thing. And I never forgot that art. And then luckily I transferred to San Francisco. And then when I was in San Francisco, I majored in illustration. And surprisingly, in illustration, as you're studying these many artists, the teacher was teaching us like American art history. And amongst that, of course, comic was introduced. So the main guy that I was so, again, blown away is, in chronological order first, is like Franklin Booth. Franklin Booth is kind of like you could say the early 1900s. If you guys don't know Franklin Booth, the 1900s illustrator, he worked for mainly like magazines, but his black and white ink is amazing, okay? And what I love about this guy is he developed his style just for, oh, hey, Robin, just by two factors, which was scarcity and ignorance. Because, he was a farm boy in Indiana, growing up with 8 kids, he's the third son. And the only thing he had was magazines. And he was just copying diligently these magazine artwork, right? And as he was copying them, what he didn't know is these were engravings. It wasn't drawn out. But because he thought, oh my God, these guys are so good, and he was copying every engraved, etched line, that's how he somehow developed this style. I love, stories like that. So Franklin Booth like blew me away. And then there's James Montgomery Flagg, again, around that era of time. He's a guy who did the famous poster of that U.S. Army poster, "I Want You," with that guy with the hat with the Uncle Sam, like the old man face with going like that. That's him. But his work is penman is amazing. Like a lot of action. He does very masculine action oriented art very, very well. And then from then on, Mobius. I love Mobius because composition and his line work is so unique. The way he does the line work. And then Francois, I'm butchering his name, but Francois Schuiten. Again, just like Mobius, I love his composition. I love his architectural art. It's just amazing. And then, of course, now we move to Barry Windsor Smith. I love Barry Windsor Smith. I love his style, his composition, his anatomy. It's just very beautiful. You know, it appeals to me in a very aesthetic way. And then Charles Vess, kind of in the same line. And then Michael Kaluta. You know, you guys, Michael Kaluta, very decorative, super detailed, beautiful work, just breathtaking. And I was fortunate enough to meet Michael Kaluta once because my friend dragged me. I didn't even know he existed until, again, our friend dragged me, and then she actually got a sketch from him. I was like, oh my God, this was amazing. And I just saw him do the pencil work. And then, of course, Bernie Wrightson. Before I happened to, again, meet him before he passed away. This is like years before he passed away. Got his sketchbooks, shook his hands. It was such an honor. I was freaking out inside. Like, oh my God, Bernie Wrightson, I love you. And you know what? I really have to say, I was studying, when I graduated, I was trying to put like a decent like work. And while I was studying his style, and I would say some of it is I would have to contribute my success to Bernie Wrightson, because while I was kind of copying his the way he renders things, that's how actually I created this famous Game of Thrones series, and that's how I got noticed. So thank you, Bernie. Yeah.
And that was going to be my next question, actually, is kind of, how did you get your start, like your big break into comics?
Oh my God. First, this is my personal big break. Okay, so like any other, I'm sure a lot of artists, I was, and I kind of still am, was super shy. Okay, very kind of like, I hate to say this, but you know, like the ostrich burying their head in the sand. You know, like you just don't know what you are, who you are. You're just so looking inside. You get twisted. Your sense of yourself gets twisted. You know, but luckily, I met my husband. Back then, my boyfriend. He really, I guess, believed in me, and he was a manager. He was a project manager before, and he ran stores, and he was a comic dealer. I mean, he was like just good in that way, which I'm not good at all, right? So he told me, you know, Mog, you've always wanted to make art as a living, so you probably need to do some art, and you always talk about it. So why don't you create? He made me a certain list of things to do. So which was just draw what you like, which is right now choose one, which was Game of Thrones, and then create a series within that. And then once you create that, you know, he just took it from there. He posted my work. I hated that, you know, when I first found out. I didn't know he created an account on DeviantArt, and he started posting my work. And I remember being super angry, you know. Now I think I look back, I was so stupid. Hey Dan, what's up? Thanks for joining us. But yeah, so, but while he was posting the work, what's interesting was I actually got a hit, and this girl from Indonesia said, hey, I love your work. Can I commission you? And I was like, oh my God, this is my first commission. Oh my God. It's like, hey, just draw an original character of my whatever I like. So I was drawing that. And it was $12. I'll never forget that. I know it sounds so little, but hey, Tom. Okay, we'll talk about you later. But uh, that $12 meant like the world to me because it was my first paid money from my own art. We actually had a celebration that night. Mel had a party. So that's my personal big break. But the official real big break is, of course, Game of Thrones. Because again, he was posting on my artwork. And if it's okay, can I show you the?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to get to because I know you've got some artwork
Yeah.
as well, but I wanted to kind of go in phases on this. And the first phase is Game of Thrones that I wanted you to kind of, because that's the one that you've got a lot of your knowledge and stuff that you've been doing and everything from that. Whenever you look up Mog Park, that's right up at the top as your Game of Thrones, and then it kind of branches down from there. But because I was doing my research on you and looking through your stuff, and I noticed Game of Thrones, so I wanted to bring that up and kind of talk about it while we're showing your art. So if you want to do, let me bring this up real quick.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is the work. This is a pencil work that he made me do. So I just started with character, which is Arya Stark. This is before the show even started. So it was just based on all book illustrations. And I don't know if you can see, but I didn't have the right equipment, like the perfect pen or brush. So I just chose Bernie Wrightson's style and rendered it in his style all in pencil. So I wonder if you can. I can't really zoom in, but you can kind of see, like, it's just poor. I mean, no way this is Bernie Wrightson, man, dude. But it just was inspired by him and started that. And then I did this. Again, I'm sorry for the quality of the artwork. This is really a long time ago, 2009. Okay, so please forgive me for the poor quality. And then this is Cersei, one of the major bad characters, and doing again the Bernie Wrightson style. And then this is Daenerys. Yeah, and this is Jaime Lannister. This is, what's his name? Baratheon. And Robert Baratheon. Sansa in the Eyrie, the high tower. I mean, that mountain where everything is just all up there in the sky. And then there's Ray, I forgot, it's Targaryen. And then Lyanna. This is Lyanna Stark, and this is Ned Stark when he was young. So what are doing all these I think it's about 9 pieces that I did in this series, or actually about 10. This piece was the one that was most popular, and this is where, when he was posting this up, it got the most hit. And first the HBO guys contacted us by email saying, hey, we like your artwork, can we post this up on our fan art page? I was like, oh, great. And then after that, about a year later, I just one day randomly got an email, which I said, hey, we like your work. Do you want to work for us? But the story about that email was, I didn't check it until about 3 months later. So I missed that opportunity. And then Mel thought, and I thought first it was a junk mail. It's like, no way HBO guys wants, like a weird dream come true saying, hey, career opportunity, HBO, blah, blah. I mean, what's that, But, and then I thought, I almost deleted that. And Mel was cooking in the kitchen at that time, which is, Mel's my husband. And I said, hey, I think this is a spam. This is some kind of joke. What is this email? You want to check it? And he looked at it and he's like, oh my God, this is real, man. And then he looked at the date and he was like, oh my God, what have you done? This is 3 months old. Are you an idiot? And then he told me, it's like, this is a lesson you have to learn. No matter what, from this day on, check your email every day. You just never know. You know what I mean? So yeah, so he quickly emailed back, and said, hey, we're interested. And luckily they actually responded back. And that's when we did the work. So this is, again, My favorite, this guy Tyrion. That's Tyrion Lannister. This is actually, again, this is the book version, okay? This is Jon Snow. He was only 14 years old at the time in the story. This is Bran with the cold hands. So yeah, so the first thing they actually email after, say, hey, there was a correspondence from back and forth with them. Just like any other TV show, I guess, they do something called an audition. This was my audition. Yeah, and they call it test page. So they give me a brief little script, 2 sentences to depict this Tyrell garden. It was considered supposed to be the most beautiful garden in the 7 Kingdoms. And this is the moment where these guys come down, these 3 Targaryens come down, and the Tyrells back at the time, they swear fealty to them. So that's the scene that I had to capture. And within the short time, I think they gave me about 2 weeks, but I finished it within about 4 days. I turned this in, and then they approved this. And then from then on, my career just, you could say, was involved with the TV show, the Game of Thrones. So yeah, that's how it started.
That is very cool. And I know you mentioned earlier about you were saying that you were, apologizing because the artwork wasn't, where it needed to be because it was so old. I agree with everyone else because my jaw's on the ground over here because this is pencil detail, and that is a ton of work that's in there. It is amazing.
Really? I can't see it, but I just see all the flaws, Thank you, though. Really appreciate that. Yeah.
I mean, it is. It definitely, I mean, it's an immense amount of detail, and everyone that's been in the audience, I've been putting some comments up here as well because they just been going nuts over it.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, everybody's excited about it. And these are things that it's not always about the finished product. For me, I love seeing the stuff that's being, from the ground floor up, just simply because you get to see all of the heart and soul that's put into it, and then the little tweaks that make it pop a little bit. For what you just put up here, I don't see tweaks that need to be put on there. It's popping all over the place.
Really?
And everyone that was in the audience was all over it, saying that was amazing stuff. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I mean, they were saying all kinds of things over here.
Wow.
So you definitely have some amazing work even from back then, and you've gotten even with some other stuff that you've come up with and everything nowadays too. So you have nothing to apologize for as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing because you're taking something that, again, this is from a book. So this is not something where you have reference material that you can actually go and say, well, this picture and this picture, and I can use these and just tweak them a little bit. You're going strictly from what's in the book in prose form and then transferring it into artwork. That's great.
I love that. What I didn't also mention is I'm a huge bookworm. I read so much books. I consume books every day, even now while I work. I just do audiobook now. I don't know about you. So I'm a huge bookworm. So I think it's easy that like when I absorb information, you can kind of, I don't know about you, but I do it visually where I can see it visually and then I can transfer it. Sorry, excuse me. Let me turn the lights on because yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're still going nuts over here about how much they're enjoying it. So yeah, you'll have to go back on the comments because there were a ton of them over here where they were all kinds of excited. But so that's Game of Thrones, and that's what you kind of got into and everything, and that's how you kind of got your breakaway, like you said, your official break into it, at least. And you're talking about pencils and that amount of detail and everything, and then you've just evolved since then, and you've gotten into some stuff that just, my jaw is dropping on the ground with this, with some of the other things especially. And one thing that I want to bring up right now, and Tom's in here right now too, so I want to talk about it, is BDI.
Yes.
Because he knows, and I think you know as well, your cover for the last penny, I missed it, and I am kicking myself for it. And I know Tom tells everybody, if you miss it, you may not have a chance. I am one of those who is over here crying, so I will get past it one of these days. I cry into my pillow every night, but it's
Oh,
okay.
really? Okay.
But if you have that cover to show, I would love to be able to show that to
Yes.
everyone that's here.
Let me
Just because it is an amazing piece with an immense amount of detail, but it's got so much depth and so much character. It screams off the page, basically.
Okay. I think it's yes. Is this one? I got it. I think I can share that.
Okay.
I think it's this one here.
Excellent. There it is.
Yes.
All right, let me bring this up. Yes.
Yeah, it's Mary Magdalene on the throne. Tom was so sweet. Like, I bought the comics from him, and he told me the backstory about Mary Magdalene, and I diligently read. Okay, thank you, Tom. I diligently read this about Mary Magdalene, and I found this character very, very fascinating because she's basically, which was surprising in his interpretation. Mary Magdalene used to be in heaven, and then she chose to go to hell and negotiate with Lucifer to give a resting place for some of the souls there. And I really like that, so I try to depict that with her. She's on the throne, and I chose the this Indonesian motif. They had these amazing wood carvings, so I took that, and then some of the Indonesian throne. There's like a demon, and there's a demon, so symbolizing hell. And then there's the and then I added this what do you call this, chains around her ankles, to show that she's not really quite there in
Right.
a good way. So yeah, this was super fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, with all the detail, I mean, you're talking about the chair itself has got a ton of detail. Her clothing, the shackles, even throwing that on there. The background behind the chair even blends in there perfectly, but the flames are what draw your eyes to everything because the light sourcing that's on there is absolutely on point. I'm not even an artist. I'm looking at it going, okay, there's no flaws in this. The flames on each side show the right light sourcing on each side on there. It doesn't, overflow too much on there. It looks perfect to me.
Thank you. The colors are done by Sanju. Sanju, he's amazing. He did an amazing job. But yeah, amazing job, Sanju.
And let me go ahead and I'm going to drop this down real quick and bring us back up here because William's asking, is this book out to purchase? I'm going to tell you right now, William, and Tom is in the audience right now. He is the publisher and editor for Big Dog Inc., which carries this, or carried. It was part of a Kickstarter. If you didn't get it, you pretty much lost your shot. However, there are some that every once in a while will show back up. If you're not a part of the Doghouse on Artist Alley Shopping Network and Comic Book Shopping Network, you need to get over there, get with Tom, find out information on that, get on there, and you'll see if you can get your chance with that. So I'm just going to let you know on that. But you definitely want to keep your eyes open because I'm telling you right now, if I see it before you do, it's mine.
Very rare, man. Yeah. I hope you can get it though.
Yeah, just like Scott said, if you can find it, you're probably lucky. Yes, I know.
Yeah. It's my first cover. I work for Tom. Yeah, about that, like, the thing is, after the Game of Thrones were over, Mel, he was like, okay, let's try to get into the comic industry, And I thought, oh my God, I could never be in comic industry. I'm not good enough, It's like never in my dreams. I thought I could ever be in comics because they're so good. There's so many great artists there. And so Mel, actually, he gave me a task. He said, you're going to have to do pinups now. It's different style. So now you're going to experiment. And I love experimenting. I just love studying so much. So I think if I can show you, right, like I did a series, I did about 6 series of pin arts. So this is just for my own sake, just to show if anybody was interested at the time. I was going to go around the publishers. And oh, that's huge. Okay, how do we get back? So that, and then that was one. Did I do this in chronological order? Nope, that's not mine. Okay, let me just, sorry, go back. Where is this? Oh. Comic characters, I think this is it. Okay, so here it is. So there's one, and then there's two, and then there's the Shira.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that, you know? I like this one. I had fun doing that one. Shira, and then, oh shoot. Baylit from Conan, the Pirate Queen. Oh, I guess that's the end. So, oh man, sorry about this.
That's okay.
How can I get back to that? Okay, so, and then there's Enchantress. So these are the six. Oh no, it's only five. So these are the pieces that I actually showed around. And while I was showing around, Tom happened to be there, you know, and I got to talk with him, and he was fantastic. And then he asked me in the con, right then and there, hey, let's think about doing a cover, man. He was like, what? No way. And that piece was the Mary Magdalene on the throne. I was so lucky. And it was so lucky because at the same time, in the same con, another publisher guy by Mount Olympus, Ron, he also approached me and said, hey, man, I mean, I like your work. You want to do a cover? And so it just...
That was the next thing I was going to bring up, too, is with Mount Olympus, because you were popping these things out, like you said, about the same time on there, you know, jumping around on that. And Mount Olympus, you have a few of them that you're working on there. So you've had a lot of very consistent work with some people who have kind of been elevated throughout all of this as well, which is great, because Mary Magdalene is one thing that the series in itself is absolutely amazing. And Tom knows this. I'm not just blowing smoke, because we've discussed about this and whatnot. But the new series that's going to be coming out, that he's going to be, you know, branching off with this, I'm greatly looking forward to. And it's almost like yours is the perfect segue. Your cover is the absolute segue into that spinoff.
Oh, awesome.
That's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah.
So that's why I need that cover in the worst kind of way. But you know, that's me, and I'll cry in the covers, and it's okay, and I'll get over it. But yeah, you've got Mount Olympus, and you've done quite a bit with that, which is, you know, excellent. And you've got, your work has always got, it's never the same. That's the thing, is I can't find a particular style with you. And sometimes, you know, usually whenever you say something like that, that's a negative that you're putting out there. With me, it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out, because you don't have a set style. And that's a good thing, because your wheelhouse is very large.
Really?
A lot of things, which really is impressive. It's, and I'm hoping that other people can see that too. I'm sure Tom sees it. But how do you go ahead? I mean, how do you figure out a way to expand your wheelhouse that much? And then my next question would be, what has been the most, what's been the biggest project you've done that's taken you out of your wheelhouse that you think you have?
Okay, so I think it's my personality in a way. I'm very experimental. Oh, Tom, okay, spoiler alert, but yes. Yeah, I think it's just my personality where in a way, you know, you have to somehow find your weaknesses and then make that into your strength. Just like the famous word by Tyrion. That's why I love that book, because again, before the show, in the book, there's a passage there. There's two quotes in a book that I really love. One was in Dune. But this, I won't talk about that quote. It's about fear, the famous quote about fear. Oh man! And then the second one is in Tyrion tells in the first book, he talks about, you know, that very weakness that you have, that you're so embarrassed about, you accept it, embrace it, and make that your strength. And then later on, no one can laugh at you.
Mm-hmm.
And my weaknesses were I have trouble staying being consistent in a way. So I would take that and say, okay, since you don't really, you know, I tend to get bored like if I do the same thing over and over again. So why don't I just take that experimental side and try, okay, we will get you. Yeah, try something like in different way. So, and the thing is, that's why I have a list of artists that I love, and you can always learn from artists that you love. And then I would say, okay, in this one, I did Bernie Wrightson. In this one, let's do, let's say, because I'm doing pinup right now, the guy I can think about is Vargas. Let's do Vargas, you know, and learn from him.
Mm-hmm.
And then from now on, I would do line decker, you know, stuff like that. And I think that's the best way. I don't think that is good for some other guys. But if you're like me, then that could also, you can try that method. And the biggest one, the breakthrough I had, oh my God, it was for me. I was working for, doing a cover for Buku Comics slash, God, the guy who did Hardly Thin. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now. Murat?
Yes, Murat. Yeah.
Yeah. He hired me to do a cover for him for his Hardly Thin. That piece was really hard because, but again, that was my biggest breakthrough in doing a different art, because I was doing a different technique, which is basically a lot more digital art. And by finding a way that I was happy with the digital art, that's where I saw my style again change a bit. Like even I could tell, like, oh, this is different. And that piece, the one is called Pretty in Pink. I think I can show you. It's this one here. That one. This piece is the one that. This is the piece. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, this is one that I colored myself and everything. So that's was again another breakthrough. So from then on, I could do other work similar to this. So who knows where I'll go from here on.
Well, and the cool thing is you look at, because I mean, Hardly Thin's been around for a little while, and of course, it has a definite, like, you know, it's a Hardly Thin book as soon as you see the cover. Well, whenever I see this looks like a special edition type thing. It's a totally different style that's on there. You can still see the general likeness to it, but it's with a general flair that you've got. But this same thing doesn't show up in your other pictures. That's what's very interesting, is you don't have the same style in all of your pictures.
Yeah. Like you said, you know, I totally agree with you when you say I can't really pinpoint you. You know, like you're like everywhere, and that is usually, even I would totally agree with you about that. When I say that to somebody, even an artist, I'm like, oh, that's not a good thing. There's no consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe the trick is you just gotta put so much effort, blood, sweat, and tears, man. Like, just put it in there. It'll come out.
It's definitely working. I mean, it's definitely working because you're putting out some amazing stuff, and you've got a great following as well, because you've got people that are, you know, finding out where you are, what's happening, that kind of thing. Now, that brings me up to my next question, because with current events and everything, we're not able to have the cons and everything, which we're aware, and we're figuring out ways to get around and do different things. So my question is, how important have you found it to go ahead and increase your online presence throughout all of this?
Oh my God. Very important. Okay. So I'm not very good at marketing all this thing. Again, that's all my husband. He's a businessman. Like he's actually my partner. I wish he was here and talking, but you know, this story is about me. So but anyway, he was telling me, like, he had all these plans for this year. You know, all these cons. He would have it booked, airlines booked, everything, right? And bam, COVID happens. And I thought, actually, it was surprisingly me, because I love listening to Nia Rufino. Because again, I met her through Tom. So she would do her live, and then the whole Tom Hutchinson. I think he did the CBSN. Um, I think he did the Artist Alley, right? Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like from there from the beginning, and I thought, man, that would be so nice if I would do something like that. So while we were thinking around February or March, I proposed that idea to Mel, like, hey Mel, I know we might not have a very big online presence, but I think we should just do it. At least just do uh, like one paid, at least like one show a day, even an hour, man, just to show myself drawing. Let's just do it, man. It's COVID. And he's like, nah, I don't know, man. And then I'm like, come on, man, just do it. And then while we were discussing this, Ron, again, Mount Olympus, happened to do his own mini con, and he invited us as a guest. And when we did that, we got so much like positive reaction. That's when my husband's like, ooh, yeah, let's try. And then since then on, we started doing it, and right now I have about up to 15 episodes that I did, every week, so 15 weeks. And I have to say, thank you so much, social media. It helped me. It helped us stay afloat. It's amazing. So Phil, I cannot emphasize enough. It is huge. Please, even though you might think, anybody who's thinking about it, you think that you don't have a presence, just do it. Just do it, man. You never know, man, like what's coming. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Tom's telling you, check your messages. I'm not even going to remotely even ask what that's about, because Tom will tell me not to say anything or not to know anything, or he won't say anything. He's very good at keeping secrets, like very good.
Yeah. Gosh, Tom is so good. Like, he just has charisma. Like, he can talk so well. I wish I can have that, but I don't. So he's so easy to talk to, man.
And William said your live draw videos are awesome. I will agree, because I've actually been on a few of them and watched as well, while I'm doing some other work and everything, and trying to, I mean, you're on kind of at the same times when I'm winding down or getting wound up, just depends upon what time it is, because
Okay.
usually in the evenings is whenever I get more business, because more of the creative industry is up at that point instead of, middle of the day.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
you do. I mean, you have a great presence, and then
Okay.
as far as going online and everything, you do well with that, um, and it seems very fluent to you, very fluid to go ahead and do that, which is great, because there are too many people that are in the industry that they're still fighting the system, unfortunately, and
Oh,
they think that we're going back to some form of normal, so they don't want to go ahead and push and try to get into something different. And that's why I wanted to go ahead and ask how important it was to you, because it does make a huge difference, not only because how long it takes to get back to going to cons.
yeah.
Going forward, this is actually going to be a part of our regular arsenal to use in the industry, whether we're going to cons or not. This is something we can use now, is sit back and actually do this digital, which is nice.
I was thinking the same thing, like more and more as we're doing this, and the success, it's like the more you do it, the more successful you are, which is weird, right? And then I was thinking, people were telling me, like some of my friends, they were saying, yeah, but once it's over, just it's not gonna be as a big of a presence anymore. But I don't know. I think doing this, it's gonna kind of change the game of things. And I really like that.
Exactly.
It, it's more
Exactly.
it's more efficient,
Well, it
convenient.
is. It is. But not only that, but it's more consistent, because even whenever you have cons, you still have downtime, and sometimes you need that downtime. Do not get me wrong, but whenever you're going and doing a dozen or more cons a year, to go ahead and get your presence out there, that can get to the point where physically it's so taxing on you. So if you can cut that down, to maybe half dozen or more, a few more, and then do the rest of them as onlines, you've got so much more that you can do with that.
Totally, man. That so in a way, um, it's like we made lemonade out of lemon with the situation here. It's
I I
Wow,
agree.
I'm scared, Tom.
I agree, and I feel the exact same way. I'm just trying to be as easygoing and nice about it as the host as I can. You know, whatever the guests want to say and the audience wants to say is fine. But I believe it too. If you're not going to go ahead and roll with the change on this, then yes, there's going to be issues with that, as Tom so eloquently put on there.
Yeah, yeah.
But it
So
is. It's something that you definitely adapt to and you move with. And I've already seen you doing that, which is great. And your work speaks for itself. And you have quite a bit more that you're working on with that. So my next thing is, what are you currently working on that you can talk about? Because again, I know how this works. And are you open to commissions, taking any commissions, anything like that as well? If anybody's interested.
yeah, commissions are, I would say, soft open. Again, thanks to all this social media presence, I have now like 4 sheets of commission lists. I have to. It's still trickling in, and please don't be afraid to message us. But just be aware that it's gonna take a while because I have to go through so much. Big ones wise, I think when I was talking with my husband, we're planning to take some, like, get the major, after I get the major stuffs out. Um, we're gonna do some kind of other portfolios. Oh, that's my husband. I think he said, anyway, whatever. Ignore that guy for now. But but we're gonna do another kind of portfolio, and then we're gonna approach this guy who I was introduced to. So I'm not gonna be able to tell the names, but it's comic related for sure. Um, it's like a pattern. I don't know, Phil, if you saw when I do a series, like you show like a series of work, the same topic series, and then job, same topic series, job. Like new job.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay, that makes sense. I
yeah.
get that. And William was actually asking a question earlier that I wanted to bring up. I can't find the question because we've had a lot of comments, which is great. But he did ask if you have a sketchbook or if you have one in the works.
Yes, I have in the works because so many people were asking, and not everybody can afford to buy originals or these tons of these huge prints, right? So me and Mel, we're actually working on a project, and it's called like Beauty and the Beast, but it's not the Beauty and the Beast you think. It's just loosely themed. So from then on, we're just doing a art book of that, thematic art book, and then possibly a lot of people surprisingly are like you said, they're really interested in seeing the initial work, like the thumbnails or the preliminary line work and all that. They love it. So I'm thinking of also putting another, like a small, because I have a lot of sketches, small compilation of the sketches in another format of books. Because even for me, I also personally love, it's because maybe I'm an artist and I love studying. I love seeing the process, the before work, rather than the finished work, because I can see, ooh, so this is how your mind works. I love that, man. Just love that. Yeah.
Exactly. And William is bringing up over here. Let me bring this up real quick. So there's a Cadets Virtual Con August 8th through 9th. And he put on here, Mog will be involved in the drink and draw.
Yeah. I'll probably just be drinking like juice or something, but yes.
No, it's very cool. And if you have information on that, if you'll pass it along to me whenever we're done or whenever you have time or whatever, and same thing with you, Williams, pass it over here. I'll share it out as well, and I'll make sure it gets to other people who can share it out, and we'll get as many people involved as we possibly can with this.
All right. Yeah. You guys join us, even if you feel like you want to drink and draw, man.
Oh, I can't draw.
Oh, okay.
I mess up on a stick figure. It's never straight. Yeah, no, I'm no good.
Wow.
I'm just pretty sitting in a seat and doing hosting. Well, at least I do hosting. I'm not pretty at it, but yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So, when I was talking about all the other artists before, when I was saying like Barry Windsor Smith, Michael Kaluta, and you're nodding, do you also um, like them as artists, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, there's a lot of people that I'm with that there are some that will do the more risque, some that won't.
Mhm.
It all depends upon. For me, it has to be something that's eye catching for one, but it's got to have a story. Because believe it or not, there's actually pages inside behind that front cover. People aren't aware of that. They can actually go through and read a book, which is great. I think Tom, I think Tom is still on a quest over there, letting people know that there's actually pages in his book. It's not just the pretty art. Uh, no, but I mean, everybody knows he's got great stuff over there. But yeah, it is. It's something that has to grab you and pull you in for the whole thing. But I am one of those that I really do like if the cover has something to do with the interior. I cannot stand those where I get something on the outside and then I go to open it up and I'm like, okay, this is nothing to do with what I got this thing for
Oh my
whatsoever.
god, dude, that's one of the that reminds me. When I got so excited when I came to America, right? I'm like, I'm gonna go to a comic shop. I'm gonna buy a comic book, man. And I chose, I don't know, man, because at the time my English was pretty bad too, anyway. So I just chose one that looked lovely, and I picked it, and I was so excited. I went home, right? And I opened it. I'm like, what? First of all, different artist. I couldn't understand what the heck's going on because in Asia, the way it's formatted, it's very each book is individual. The individual shines, and I learned later on, it's this is a so interesting and in a way awesome part about Western comics. It's actually a teamwork. Do you know how hard it is to find in any other place in the world? I guess besides animation, but we're talking about like comic books, okay? That actually is about teamwork, not really about you. It's a That's so fascinating. Cover art is different, interior is different, writer, I don't know, everything is all just a mix. And this, I think that's why comic industry West is also successful in its own strange way, because it's creating a platform for so many artists, is giving them a kind of an opportunity to just jump on and work on something, even if you don't have a story right away. If you're better at drawing, just do it. I love that part about comic industry here, man. It's so awesome. It's
It is. I mean, and you're absolutely right. It is. It's a teamwork thing, but more so now with COVID and everything happening, it's actually opened up the doors to where independent comics are now getting more of the spotlight.
yes.
Amazing because now, as long as it's done correctly, if more people would actually understand that if we work together in the independent industry and really started getting our voices out there, then we would have that number one spot or maybe even that number two spot, but we're at least going to be in the spotlight now. We're not going to be at the back of every LCS and, where the lights are so bad or flickering, the fluorescence or whatever, and bad flooring and, all that fun stuff. We can actually be up at the very front as soon as you walk in, which is amazing because that's why I choose to read the independents. And that's why
Yes.
my tagline is keep it indie, y'all, is because this industry did not go pencils down at all. In fact, we went more pencils up than anything else during this whole pandemic thing, and it just got better and better. So,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned, indies are working better as a group than anything ever has that I've seen in any industry that's out there.
I totally agree. You know what? I feel like it's kind of changing the industry. Oh, hi Meredith. Yeah, the way the Kickstarters are independent comics are going, I just love the fact that all that effort and for example, just straight up, I would just say like the money is going straight to the creators. It's not the distributors or all that. It's a fascinating platform. Business wise, is I don't know. I feel like it's gonna change something. It's nothing to laugh about. It's independent comics is like for me the future. I know this is really
Yeah.
big of me to say, but I really believe that. I really believe that.
Well, the way that I see it is everybody's saying that we're going back to a new normal is what everybody keeps saying. I say we're setting a new standard.
Yes.
That
Yes.
that's where I see all of this going is we're setting a new standard for everything.
Yes. And yeah, because it's weird. Because you know how and the funny thing is this is year 2000, so that this is 20 years ago, okay? Again, when I touched ground, I was in the illustration class and I was talking to all these guys, and majority of the American guys I saw, I'm like, hey, why'd you start art? Oh, I love comics. Why aren't you doing comics? Comic industry is dying, so I'm doing this. Like that word, it's been floating around 20 years ago, you know? But look at this. It's still, we just find a way, man.
Oh
Just
yeah.
gotta be flexible, yo.
Well, there are publishers and there are companies who have gone belly up and whatnot, and that's only because honestly, I think it's because that they refuse to change
Yeah.
and they weren't willing to adapt and do things differently with that. I really think that that's where their downfall was on it because people say, oh, well, the money wasn't there, or this wasn't there. Well, go find the money, change something.
Yeah.
Stop waiting for the LCS to go ahead and sell your books. Sell your books and have the LCS do it as a secondary. That's what needed to be happening in the beginning, and they didn't look at it that way. They looked at it as long as they're going to the LCS and they've got them, they'll sell them for me and I'll be okay. Well, they're the ones that you now put your life in their hands, basically saying, okay, if you can you please push these whenever you have a chance? Instead of putting your
Oh.
heart and soul into your own work and then going to the LCS saying, look, I sell these things all the time. Can you go ahead and do me a solid on this one? And you're going to buy these books and everything, sell these for me. I want you to go ahead and read the first copy on me for free or something. That way you at least have knowledge on it and tell your customers. But they weren't going that extra level on there.
Yeah.
And by not showing your heart and soul into what you do, you can't survive.
You're right. Because also the way the Kickstarters are formatted, like it tells like how you can feel the author, the creator, saying, hey, I did this because blah 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 blah. I mean, there's all these reasons, incentives, everything. I mean, you can just clearly see it all, and then you feel great as a customer, like, dude, I want to support you, man.
Exactly.
It's not a company, yo. It's you. I'm gonna support you, man. And
Exactly.
I love that.
One thing, and I'll give a shout out to my LCS that's here, and I'm actually moving, so they won't be in my LCS anymore. That's sad, right there.
Oh man.
Level Up Entertainment, right here in my area, and they have one of those spinner racks in the middle that's the employee choices, and they change them out each week, which is amazing. Okay,
Oh.
that's good, great, wonderful. It's easy to do though. So here's the kicker though. Whenever you walk in, they direct you to the spinner. So instead of you walking in and just having free reign and doing whatever, they actually learn to know your name at least and deal with you directly or whatever. And if there's new people that walk in, they'll immediately, hey, welcome to the store. Let me go ahead and give you a quick rundown. Here's our spinner rack, and they take you there first. That means the world to me because that shows that they're putting their heart and soul into what they're selling because they're actually reading it because they know things about what's on that spinner rack. Because I've been to other stores that they'll put it on the wall or the spinner rack and say employee's choice. They know nothing about it.
Dude, I would love that. Because whenever I go into a comic book shop, they're like, hey, how's it going, man? It's like, hey, you need any help? It's like, I don't know. There's so much. There's so much, man. Like, just ask them simple questions like, hey, do you like fantasy, action, what? Like, I like this. Oh, I got something for you. Check this out. I'll be like, yes, thank you. Thank you. But
exactly. Or if you can't get to them because you're working on something else or whatever, and of course, this is my 28 years of retail management experience speaking on this one. But if they walk in and they go and they find something, that's great. They come up to the counter and everything. Why just go ahead and do a lay down sale? Why not go, hey, if you like this, have you ever thought about getting in this series over here? Let's go ahead and get you started on this one, I'm telling you, you're going to like this one. If you don't, it's only one book. You're not going to have to get the whole series right now.
Wow. That's
simple.
amazing. Dude. Are you like, did you study finance or something? You're so good. dude, yeah.
I've done sales most all my life and everything. It's just something that it runs very fluidly for me on that. It's just something that just it's automatically there. And it's just something that I would like to see in more of the LCSs doing this. So whenever I see mine that's here doing this, you better believe whenever I get to where I'm moving to that I'm going to be going into my LCSs there that, you know, are possible LCSs that I'll grab onto, and I'll give them an opportunity at first. I'll give them suggestions if they're willing to listen. And hey, if we can make a change, that's all about that adapting and changing and surviving and thriving.
Yeah.
Because why lay down and die? It makes no sense.
Yeah, just like, oh my God, it's the end. No, there's
Yeah,
always that door there, man. Just go there and check it out. It doesn't hurt. If you're gonna lay down and die, try it over there. You know, hi
exactly.
rebel. Yeah, so I
But
agree with you, man.
now let me ask you this, because I like to ask this of my guests on here and everything, because we can't go to cons and everything right now. Everybody is incredibly sad about this. I am one of those people that's incredibly sad because, and it's not necessarily, I've asked other people, and sometimes I'll get the response of, well, I'm not able to get the exclusive cover. I'm not able to get the exclusive whatever that's usually at a con. Most of what I get is I can't go see the people that I normally see. I can't go shake hands. I can't, get a hug. I can't do this, that, and the other. So
Wow.
with that being said, and you can't do all this, what I'd like to go ahead and bring up is, what are some of your favorite con memories that you have?
Oh my God. Oh, dude, I have some, man. Okay, I think one is my first con. Of course, you're never gonna forget that first con. And when I say first con, is the first con that I actually went as an exhibitor.
Hmm.
So again, my husband, he just forced it. He didn't care what I said. He's like, hey, is your badge? You're doing this, your table, you have a panel. What? A panel? You're on your own? Like, and you do a panel every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, oh my God, you know? And I was so scared. And at that time, my thing was I just had a portfolio of what I did for Game of Thrones. And I thought, no one's going to like this, man. Who's going to like this? I'm just a nobody. I mean, that's just my mental game, okay? I'm okay now. Don't shake your head right now, Phil, okay? Me, I know I was stupid, okay? So, and and then we didn't even have any prints, nothing to sell. So again, Friday I talked. There was only maybe about 5 people. Saturday, oh my God, the whole room was filled because the title was "Let's talk about Game of Thrones from artist blah blah," and I was just sweating bullets. Like, oh my God, there's so many people. What the hell? And I was like about to have a nervous breakdown, and they gave me a mic, and just when I was about to start talking, they had technical difficulties. And I saw all the workers like really just trying really hard to fix the issue. And then suddenly it just relieved me because I'm like, oh, there's somebody who's worse off than me. So I feel so like the stress went away, you know? It's like, hey, let's talk now. So I talked. I was amazed because after that talk, dude, like somebody walked up to me, one of this big guy, and he held his hand to like a lady, so I can hold his hand to come down the stairs. And I'm like, what is this? I felt like, am I God? They love me? Are you serious? Somebody really likes me? I mean, not like that, but as an artist, you want to be
Right,
respected for the work.
right.
So that was the biggest high. I could not believe, and that's what I learned at that day. Everybody has a special moment. Everybody is special. Every single human being in the world out there, you're special. You just don't know it, okay? You just gotta let people know in your own way that, you just do it. Just try it, man. Thank my husband. He pushed me for that. He pushed me. But man, like you just gotta have that moment, man. It would change your mind in a little bit. It will maybe by 1 degree, but that 1 degree is so it just changes everything. You think it's only 1 degree that you shift it, but in a opposite way, you actually change it 290, 360, I don't know, 359 degrees. You actually travel this far to just have that 1 degree shift.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my memorable moment for the first one. The second one is, of course, later on, you meet so many amazing people. And the amazing people was surprisingly for me, my preconceived ideas were it would be the artist. It wasn't the artist. It was actually the people that just come to you and tell their life story. That to me was the biggest joy. Like when I go to a con, it's not about like me selling my work or anything. It's just for that moment where I can have that intimacy with that person and me. Just say, tell me your story. And one of the incredible story was I drew. I like drawing architecture and all that, but I drew this series about the boy who drew cats. It's a Japanese folk tale, and it's just backgrounds, page 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's the key moments of the story, okay? And I posted that up on my display it was in Dragon Con last year. And suddenly this man who looked to be in his 30-ish, like whatever, it's a mature man, okay? It's not 40-ish, it's not a young guy, okay? He suddenly stops and he's like, the boy who drew cats. and then he told me his story. Like he said, did you know this was he said when he was a kid he was always bullied. Everybody always made fun of him. He was weird. And every night his mom would read a bedtime story. And his favorite was the Japanese folktale, The Boy Who Drew Cats, which is very obscure, right? And then this is not even an Asian guy. This is like just a regular Caucasian dude, just, kind of like, wow, that's interesting. And then they moved from one state to another state. And when they moved to the state, I think it was in Florida, they put all the books that he had packed under the basement, and it flooded.
Oof.
And his deer collection was gone. Yeah. And then from then on, his mom was so desperate. Him and his mom was desperate to find The Boy Who Drew Cats. The book was out of print. Nobody knows about it. Nobody ever sold it. Nothing. And it was kind of like he said, like a hole that he had to just to bury and just grow up, But he said that book always, he knows the story, he treasures it because it was very important to him. And then 30-something years later, he walks in the con and he sees The Boy Who Drew Cats with a complete page 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he was just so like floored, Stories like that, where can you get that? It's just a weird coincidence.
Exactly.
And and the thing is, what the greatest joy? Also, another thing I learned while I was drawing art as a professional, when I started working professionally, I found out that art is not really about an expression. I know that people might gonna hate me for saying this. It's actually, for me personally, I found that it's a service. It's a service for, I don't know, in some way it's a service, because when I was hired to do work Game of Thrones, I had to somehow visualize all these concepts. I'm doing a service, so they can make their dreams come true, literally, out to the front. You bring it to the front. It's a service that you do. And once I started seeing that, it became less about me and became more about you, So when people start asking me like, what's your favorite character? What's your favorite blah, blah? Now I just like everything because it's not really about me now, man. It's about you, Do you understand me, Phil?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way, because on my show, that is one thing I don't like talking about myself. And so this is actually not even about myself. This is the networking that happens off of my show on certain instances where I'll have, a guest on here and I'll have a different guest and maybe a panel going or something like that. whenever they start talking amongst each other or even with the audience or whatever, and it may not be a, this, you're going to do these covers for me scenario type thing, but it's networking. It's getting someone together that hadn't been together before.
Yes.
For me, that's a win on every single show. I don't care about numbers. I don't care if I hit double digits, triple digits, whatever on views and all that. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it, but that's not my goal. My goal is to make sure that everybody has a great time, and that if you have a chance to network with somebody and create a new contact that you haven't had before, that's one. That's one
Wow.
that you didn't have before.
Yes. And now, like, I know how hard it is to just to get where I'm at, because it was just me and my husband. So it's like networking. So I find, people who wants to, and if I can, I'll network and help them. That's where I find joy. It sounds cheesy, but that's how I found that it is. It's really, I don't know. I just love the fact that, for example, commissions, like private commissions. Oh man, like I love, say, Colossus. Could you do me like a samurai Colossus and blah blah? Oh, classic one. Another one. I just graduated. He's a doctor. I'm a doctor now, man. Like I'm a doctor. It's like, and I studied so hard to get here, and I spent years and money, and this is my present for myself. And he loves Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He loves it. He's a fanatic. And he came all the way there to see Kevin Eastman. And then he's a Russian guy. He's interesting too. And he came to me and he said, "Oh my God, I love your style. Could you draw me Shredder in a samurai style?" So I did that. And for me, it's like, okay, yeah, I'll just do it, But I didn't know all the story, before that. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I did it, and I gave it to him, and he was just so happy, Oh,
Thank you for being here, Terry.
yeah, he was just absolutely happy, and he just wanted to give me a hug, and I hugged him and said thank you, and he told me again the incredible story, stuff like that, man. You just give joy with your art in some way. You just feel more like there's meaning to it now. So
Exactly. Getting money for something is one thing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not downing that by any means, because we still need money to survive and whatnot. But it's that extra, it's that smile, it's that sparkle in the eye, or it's that story that they tell you that goes behind the commission they wanted you to do. You didn't know that ahead of time, and then as soon as you hear that, you're like, wow. I mean, it's like leaving a footprint in sand that can never be taken away.
yes. Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah. People really remember the kind of the way they remember you is, I think there's a quote, like the kindness that you've done to them, more than your name or whatever, what you said is the act of kindness. So I like that. So if I can give some kind of beauty to someone, I mean, and it made their day, dude, I'm happy. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, I could keep you on here all night long, but I think we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this one up. If you'll go ahead and let us know one more time audibly where we can find you, and then I will get that information and put these on the feeds when we're done.
Okay. Yeah. So it's simple, guys. Mog Park. Facebook is the best way to contact me at this moment. I respond the fastest. Messenger. Second is email, mogpark@yahoo.com. And, you can follow me on Instagram, Mog Park again. The extensive one where you see a vast collection of my work is more on DeviantArt, and that's a different name. And I'm going to have Phil or type that in later. So, yeah, please like and share and follow. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you very much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and put you backstage, do my closing statements. I'll be back here in just a moment. Thank you again. All right. Hey, we had Mog Park up here. We had an absolute blast having her up here. Got to go over some con memories, which were amazing. Went over some of her work, talked to her about her history and some things, got to know her a little bit better, which is great. Now, I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different on that. I never script it. I never write it down. Y'all didn't see me write down anything. I always go based off of my guest. Tonight is very simple. Adapt or fade. It's very simple. We discussed it several times in there, and I just want to go ahead and really bring it up. It's not a negative thing. Don't take it as a negative, take it as a positive. If you're not willing to go ahead and, as Mog so eloquently put it, do it. Just go ahead and do it. Take me, for example. I didn't have to jump on and start doing hosting and things like that. It happened. I ran with it. And I'll be damned if anybody's going to ever take this away from me. I am so staying in this industry, as long as every one of y'all want me to stay here, of course. But my point is, if you don't adapt, if you don't change to the wind that's going around you, you'll get blown in a different direction. You can absolutely see that with several other companies that's happened to. And right now, of all times, setting that new standard, we're all doing it together. So adapt or fade. Keep that in mind, and always keep it indie, y'all.